Read permissions. Most people think information is simple. You either have it or you do not. You either know something or you do not. But the older I get, the less I think that is true. More and more, it seems like information has conditions. It can be present without being usable. It can be real without being readable. It can sit right in front of you for years before you have the eyes for it. That is what I mean when I say information may have something like read permissions. I do not mean that in a corny sci-fi way, like the universe is a giant computer asking for a password. I mean it in a human way. Sometimes something is there, fully there, and you still cannot make sense of it yet. Not because you're stupid, not because it is fake, because you do not yet have the right angle, the right language, the right calm, or the right life experience to read it. I was thinking about this while revisiting Itzhak Bentov, an inventor and writer best known for a book called Stalking the Wild Pendulum. Bentov spent a lot of time trying to connect science, consciousness, and spiritual experience without making it feel dry or academic. One of the strongest things he does in that book is use simple physical images to help people think about larger, invisible processes. One of those images starts with a shallow pan of water. Imagine dropping a few pebbles into the water at the same time. Each pebble sends out ripples. Those ripples move outward, cross each other, and create a complicated pattern on the surface. At a glance, it just looks messy. Then Bentov asks you to imagine freezing that surface into a sheet of ice and lifting it out. Now, you are holding a strange, rippled record of an event. According to Bentov, that frozen pattern is not random at all. It holds information about the sources that created it. In his example, if it is illuminated the right way, it can work a bit like a hologram and reveal something about the original pebbles and where they were. Even if someone does not buy every larger claim Bentov makes, the image itself is enough to get the gears turning. What looks chaotic might not actually be chaos. What looks distorted might actually be stored pattern. What looks like noise might actually be a record. That lands for me, because people do this to each other all the time. We look at the visible surface of a person and assume that is the full story. Someone seems scattered, reactive, withdrawn, obsessive, over-emotional, checked out, intense, inconsistent. And because that is the shape we can see, we mistake it for the whole truth. But what if that visible shape is more like the frozen water? What if it is not random at all? What if it is the current surface pattern left by many things meeting at once? Stress, love, family, fear, adaptation, trauma, timing, hope, intelligence, grief, instinct. That does not mean every behavior is wise or healthy. It just means surface is not the same thing as meaninglessness. A pattern can look messy and still be deeply structured. That is where the idea of read permissions starts to matter. Sometimes the truth is there, but you do not yet know how to read it. A child can go through something painful and not understand what happened until years later. The event was real the whole time. The child just did not yet have the words, safety, perspective, or internal structure to process it. Then later, maybe in a totally different season of life, the memory lights up. Suddenly it makes sense. Suddenly you can name it. The information did not appear out of nowhere. It became legible. That happens all through life. You hear a sentence 10 times, and on the 11th time it hits. You live through a year that feels random, then later see the pattern. You keep repeating a behavior you do not understand, then one day realize it was adaptation. You inherit a symbol, a ritual, or a story that seems dead. Then suddenly it opens up and reveals real depth. Again, the thing itself was already there. What changed was your ability to read it. That is why I like the phrase read permissions. It is blunt, modern, and weirdly accurate. Not everything is hidden because someone is hiding it. Sometimes it is hidden because the reader is not ready. Sometimes the issue is not access. Sometimes the issue is resolution. You can stand right in front of something true and still not be able to pass it. That is not failure. That is part of life. It also explains why forced insight usually goes badly. People love the idea that more information automatically leads to more freedom, but that is clearly not how it works. Information that arrives before you can hold it does not always help. Sometimes it overwhelms you. Sometimes it scrambles you. Sometimes it gets twisted into fear, fantasy, or despair because your system cannot digest it yet. Truth is not always healing on impact. Sometimes it has to arrive at a speed the mind, heart, and body can actually survive. This applies to culture too. Whole societies can inherit symbols, values, and stories they no longer know how to read. The outer form stays around, but the depth drains out. Then what used to carry meaning gets flattened into branding, empty tradition, cheap aesthetics, or political theater. The symbol is still there, but the literacy is weak. The pattern remains, but the connection to it has thinned. The opposite happens too. Sometimes the right light hits the right surface and everything changes. A piece of art explains your own life back to you. A conversation unlocks something you could never say before. Grief strips away enough noise that what mattered becomes obvious. Love steadies you enough to see clearly. Silence helps you hear what constant stimulation was drowning out. Nothing supernatural has to be assumed here. Human beings are full of stored pattern. Under the right conditions, that pattern becomes visible. That may be one of the best ways to think about growth. Growth is not just learning new facts. It is becoming more readable to yourself. It is developing enough honesty, steadiness, and depth to interpret your own life without distorting it every time something painful comes into view. It is becoming less reactive in the act of seeing, less eager to flatten everything into a quick label, less quick to call something meaningless just because it is not opened yet. Wisdom, then, may have less to do with having all the answers and more to do with becoming a better reader, better pattern recognition, better patience, better tolerance for the stage where something is real but not yet clear. That feels especially important now, because modern life pushes everyone to have instant takes on everything. Every event must be judged immediately. Every person must be categorized. Every symbol must be reduced to a slogan. But reality does not always reveal itself on demand. Sometimes a thing needs time before it can be read without being mangled. That does not mean truth is arbitrary. It means relationship matters, timing matters, maturity matters. The condition of the reader matters. So when I say information may have read permissions, I am really saying something very simple. A thing can be present before it is understandable. A pattern can be real before it is visible. A life can be carrying meaning long before that meaning can be named. That is what Bentov's frozen ripple image gets at so well. What looks like random distortion may actually be preserved structure. What looks like a mess may be a record. What looks unreadable may not be empty at all. It may just be waiting for the right kind of light. Maybe that is part of what it means to mature, not just collecting more and more data, but becoming the kind of person who can read what is already here with less distortion. Because reality may be full of pattern, and a lot of what we call awakening may simply be the moment something that was always there finally becomes clear enough